I thought today I would spend this video talking about reading, maybe reading more, maybe reading more diversely, maybe reading better. Because, as many of you might also feel, I am petrified of losing my critical skills. I am very scared of losing my critical thinking. And as someone who has used AI in certain capacities, but I'm now trying to really detangle myself from it. I have noticed how my patience has eroded. I have noticed how quickly I want solutions, I want answers, I want everything now. I have also noticed how quickly I want to outsource these feelings of like little discomforts because I don't want to think about something for too long because it feels like a waste of my time. So it's all these skills that we have now collectively have been deemed to be useless and a waste of time, and we're all giving them, outsourcing them to AI. And I know it's a tired topic. I know we're sick of hearing about it, but I think that we just need to continue to talk about it actually. And one way to kind of mitigate a lot of that, in my opinion, is to read more, to be able to pick up a book and to want to do that. And I think that for a lot of us, we can create that habit and we can create that excitement about reading. And in doing that, we can become more patient. We can expand our minds and we can expand our worldview. And that's exactly what they don't want. They don't want you reading. They don't want you informed. They don't want you to develop any sort of empathy for anybody that doesn't look like you or reflects your own experience. And that is scary. I already feel a bit worked up, so I need to calm down, put a little mascara on. And I just wanted to give a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Ana Luisa, which I'm sure you've heard about them because I am one of their big fans and we've worked together for a long time, and I really appreciate all the support they've given my channel and the wonderful jewelry that I get to wear. I love jewelry. I love being able to pick and choose different pieces depending on the mood that I'm in. And sometimes I'm in a gold mood, sometimes I'm in a silver mood. Right now I'm in my silver mood. And Ana Luisa has so many lovely pieces to choose from, and I have been wearing their jewelry for many years now. Some of the first pieces that I received I still have, and they still look beautiful, and I still wear them. And that's what I love the most about Ana Luisa, is that their designs, they are long lasting and tarnish resistant. And on top of that, they are quite affordable with designs starting at $39. And I really love being able to layer all different pieces, and they do that very well. So many of their pieces complement each other, especially the necklaces. You can have different lengths and therefore you can mix and match, which I love doing. I have been a loyal Ana Luisa customer, and I really believe that there are pieces out there for everybody. They do very delicate pieces very well, and then they do bolder, edgier pieces that can like elevate an outfit and make it look really cool and pretty. So thank you so much to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. I'll leave a link in the description box below if you'd like to check them out and get some of their pieces, and we can match. We can have the same jewelry. Okay, let's go and find a place to sit and read. I am a mood reader through and through, which, sometimes takes a bit of resilience because you might not want to read what everybody else is reading, but I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing. I am, however, going to pick up a really popular book. I'm just really late to reading it. And the thing that has kind of pushed me to read it is because I read Sally Rooney's article. And I love it when people with power, when people with recognition have a backbone. So I'm going to read Intermezzo. That's the book. This is the book I'm taking with me, and let's go find a place to read this book. I don't think this goes at all, but it is cold, it is very windy, and I don't want to be cold. I thought I'd show you all the books that I've taken out of the library that I have to now return, that I haven't even touched. I haven't even opened to read the first page because I haven't had time. And that's okay. Whoa. Oops. You can tell that was a lot of books, and maybe that's more so to do with that I get really excited when I go to the library and I just want to take out everything because everything looks interesting. And then, of course, it dawns on me that I have friends and I like doing things outside of reading as well, and I have jobs. Anyway, so these are all the books that I haven't read. There are many. I will just add them to an ongoing list on my Storygraph app of books that I was interested in and that I want to take out again. And that's it. Sometimes I read a lot and sometimes I don't read a lot. And as long as I can consistently read a couple of pages every day or like engage in some sort of book activity every day, I am moving towards the ultimate goal, which is to continue learning and becoming a more well-rounded, empathetic person. Those are some of the reasons why I read. The other reasons are more to do with like me and my writing practice and wanting to be a better writer. I think you have to be a reader in order to be a writer. Okay, let's go return these and then find a cafe. Before I find a cafe to sit down and read, I just wanted to talk about libraries because of all the news of libraries getting defunded and many libraries risking closing down because of that. If you are in the US, which a large percentage of my audience is in the US, which is why I feel it's important to talk about, this is a really good episode that has so many different resources and ways that you can show up and support your local library. Libraries are not just places for you to go and take out a book. They are places for communities to be, for Wi-Fi access, for people to learn how to use computers, to become literate, to, get help to create a CV. There are so many events that are organized by librarians. It is just such an amazing resources for local communities. I think one thing that saddens me a lot when I engage with BookTube and BookTok and book creators is that I rarely see people taking out books from the library, and I rarely see people encouraging others to get a library card. You don't need to buy 15, 20, 25 books off of Amazon. You could instead take out those books, reserve those books from the library. Authors get a kickback anyway. Anyway, look up your local library, get a library card, and go hang out, see what events they're running, and see what interesting books they have. I find really good librarian recommendations at the library, things that you would never find online. Okay, go get a library card. I am going to rapid fire these tips. I don't think that these are tips that are revolutionary or that you've never heard before, but I think there's power in just being reminded of things. I just want to cover a couple of things before. If you're thinking about reading more and you already read, I would encourage you to think more about how to read more deeply, how to read better. I think that when we read better and when we have a deeper understanding of the book, that's where the magic happens. That's when I start taking notes, I start forming opinions about the book, criticisms, and best of all, I can start making connections like in the long term of my reading journey. I make connections with different books, different themes, different experiences, different emotional experiences for me, things that I probably would have never thought about. That's for me the crux of learning, first of all, but the crux of reading diversely, and having a good understanding of what you're reading. And I think it is far more valuable to read less but read better, and to remember the things that you read, or to at least have some notes somewhere in a journal or on your computer, than it is to read 50, 60, 70 books that you can't remember half of them. I will say that I used to be the person who just like read, and then completely forgot about everything that I was reading. I don't have a great memory. I have now found solutions to that, which is having my reading journal. I used to use Milanote as an app, which I really enjoyed because I could just make little boards and start making connections between different things and keep notes of what I was reading. I have since moved on to Obsidian, which I'm really enjoying. So that's how I read better and I engage with the books that I'm reading in a more intentional way. The other thing I'll say is that being a reader on the internet is wild. It has just been normalized to read 50, 60, 70, over 100 books a year, which is just wild to me because I don't think that's realistic for most people. And therefore, I just want to tell you that like it's okay if you're not reading that number of books. I mean, I think you know that that's okay, but sometimes it just like seeps into a secret part in our brains that we just cannot kind of let go of that information. I know that happens for me, that when I see like what I read in June and they've read like 18 books, it's okay to not read that much. I mean, everybody has different circumstances. You kind of have to find what is realistic for you. And I think hand in hand with that is like you have to find the reason why you are reading, which is something that I kind of alluded to earlier in the video. Why do you want to read more? Why do you want to read in the first place? What is your why? And I think it does have to go beyond like, I want to read more because I want to read 60 books. Because when you're stressed or when you are sad or when you're sick or whatever it is, I don't think that that's going to be a strong enough reason at that point. Okay, rapid fire tips. Number 1. Even as a person who really loves reading, I find it very useful to schedule in time for reading. So for me, I feel more inclined to read in the morning. That is my consistent habit that I do usually from Monday to Friday. 25 minutes is the magic number for me. Pomodoro has changed my life in many ways and it really works well for reading as well. I think it gives me enough time to kind of like delve into the book. In saying that, I think something is better than nothing, and getting out of that like all or nothing mentality is great when it comes to reading, but also when it comes to most aspects of your life. It's just great to keep moving forward. I guess what inspires me to schedule time in the week or in my day is that I have a goal. There's a goal that I have every month of what books I want to read, less about how many and more about like how can I make my month of reading more diverse, more interesting, and more well-rounded. So in that way, I kind of have an idea of the books that I want to tackle each month. Again, I'm a mood reader, so sometimes I don't follow this list at all, but even just having the list on my table kind of keeps me thinking about these books, and I think it has worked for me in the past to like keep me inspired to continue showing up to these like 25 minutes of reading. Another way that I keep this kind of going is through habit stacking, which is the one thing that I took away from James Clear Atomic Habits. And so when I wake up, I brush my teeth first thing, and then I make myself a cup of tea and like fill my water with warm water to drink. And after that, I'll read my book. So one thing that is very second nature to me, I stack with the habit that I want to create, which is reading. So those two together kind of creates a little ritual for me, a little morning ritual. And I really enjoy starting my day this way. I try to also keep this going when I do my part-time job. I feel very okay with having to wake up earlier in order to read. I am a person that hates to rush, and I just like the morning, so I wake up early regardless. The other one is that you should pick a book that you think that you're really going to enjoy. That seems very obvious, but I think being part of like if you're constantly watching videos about other people reading, you're just constantly getting information about what other people really enjoy or what they don't enjoy. And that obviously subconsciously then has an effect on what you end up picking up. Sit with yourself for a second and think, what am I in the mood for? When I'm in a reading slump, I'm not going to pick a philosophical, introspective book because I think that that's not gonna get me where I want to be. So when I'm in a reading slump, I need something a bit more fast-paced, a bit more plot-heavy, a bit more engaging, and therefore I pick something that fits that description. Pick something that is going to be easy, and once you develop the habit, then you can venture into different genres. In fact, I would implore you to do so and to not just stick to that one genre. I think if you want to remain a critical thinker, read authors that do not reflect your own experience. That is extremely important. Obviously, reading is meant to be enjoyed, but I think also beyond that, like, have the book that you enjoy and then pick up a book that is going to challenge you. Pick up a book that is going to make you learn something new. Pick up a book that is going to make you uncomfortable. Pair those two together. It is very important that you read outside of your comfort zone, at least every now and then. But I would say consistently. I'd say consistently read outside your comfort zone. The other thing I say is that try and make it a social thing. I know myself, I'm an introvert. I don't need to make everything social. But going out to a cafe to read on my own, that's a really lovely way for me to schedule in time, see the outside world, get out of my room. I think that's very necessary. But the other thing is, like, make a book club. Make a book club online, make a book club with your friends, join a book club. I think discussing books and having accountability is probably one of the easiest ways to get back into reading or to start reading or to continue reading. Making friends that are interested in books and that you can discuss the things that you're reading. I love having book friends. I don't have a whole lot, but I do have a few, and I love recommending books and they love recommending books to me, and it makes this very usually solitary solo experience a bit more social. And the other way to make it social is to, of course, join like a reading app where you can keep a list of the books that you want to read and have a look at the books that your friends want to read or other people that you follow. The only drawback for me from that is that it just puts a certain few books that are really popular online at the periphery of my brain, which sometimes stops me from venturing elsewhere, which is one of the reasons why I love going to the library and like just looking and scanning books and picking books up without having to check my Storygraph app to see what the rating is. I have committed this year to take risks and to be okay with a bad book because I can just put it down and pick something else up. As I said, I have my Storygraph app. I put most of the books that I read on there, and sometimes I forget, but it's nice to keep count. I am part of a reading challenge if that works for you. I feel like I'm never like fully committed to it, but it keeps things fun. I like gamifying things. There are so many books out there, and I think that there are books out there for everybody. And whether maybe reading is not your way of accessing these books, maybe it's through an audiobook. Don't let anybody tell you that listening to an audiobook isn't reading. It doesn't matter. Listen to it. Okay, I think that is all. I think that those are the tips that I have for now. I think it's really important right now to create that reading habit. It's very important to remain alert, to not become drones, to be switched on. And that happens when you read diversely, when you read well, and when you step away from social media every now and again. I know it's horrible hearing this from someone who's on social media making videos, but I hope you do take some time away to read a few pages or make a list of books that you'd love to read in the future. Okay, that is all for me now. This was too long. This is a long video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.